In the name of Allah. Hi my friends. As I promised, I will introduce the vulture in this clip. And in the next clip we will go to the crow. If you enjoy these clips and love animals, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Well, let's go. Vulture or scavenger refers to two different groups of carrion-eating birds of prey, including the New World vultures native to the Americas and the Old World vultures native to Africa and Eurasia. There are no native vultures in Australia and Antarctica. However, the griffon vultures have managed to cross the Wallace line. This bird has no hair on its head. The bare head of this animal is because it can regulate its body temperature in this way. In the cold, you can see that these animals put their heads between their wings to keep warm. These animals find their prey through their sense of smell and attack. Vultures are carnivores. These birds fly very high. Their very strong sense of sight and smell makes them easily see their prey and attack them. Of course, it goes without saying that these animals are also very famous for eating carcasses. In such a way that sometimes they just wait for hunting to be done by other animals such as tigers or lions. After the animal stops hunting, they go over the animal's carcass and feed on its remains. So, in general, the vulture's food is mainly obtained from hunting and animal carcasses. What is the speed of vultures in flight? These animals fly at a very high altitude. They fly over the peaks at an altitude of about 24,000 to 25,000 feet. The flying speed of this bird is very high, so that it can easily cover every kilometer in a few seconds. This allows him to quickly reach his prey easily after identifying it. What animals hunt vultures? This bird of prey has many enemies in nature who want to hunt this animal. After all, this is the law of nature and every animal must hunt another to survive. In this section, we introduce some of the animals that hunt vultures. The tigers. Tigers are very fast predators that can easily catch vultures in the blink of an eye. This hunting can be done when these birds are using bird carcasses. Lions and leopards. Lions and leopards are also one of the types of animals that can be enemies of this animal and easily hunt this bird when the vulture is not fully focused on the events around it. Eagles. In some cases, it has been seen that eagles attack and hunt these animals. Of course, it goes without saying that this may be very rare, but researchers have confirmed it. What size is the biggest and smallest vulture? This animal has different species that are divided into two families, the old vulture and the new vulture. In these categories, the largest size vulture is Aegypius monachius. The wingspan of this animal is between 2.5 and 3 meters and its weight reaches 14 kilograms. At the same time, a completely different point is this type of small or Egyptian vulture, which is also seen a lot in Iran. The size ratio of this species is very different from other species. Introduction of vultures. Bearded vulture. Humat, bone-eating chicken, or bearded vulture is one of the types of this animal, which has a very large size with very unique colors. Almost 90% of this animal's diet comes from bones, and that is why it is called a bone-eating bird. This animal lives at an altitude of 400 to 4,500 meters, and since 2014 the alarm of this animal's extinction has been sounded. Mountain vulture. Breeds of this bird that live mostly in the mountains are called mountain vultures. It goes without saying that there is a mountain range in Isfahan called Karak's Koh. Black slab and normal slab. Both of these breeds belong to the old vulture category. The black vulture is the largest vulture among other types of this animal, and as mentioned, its weight reaches 17 kilograms. White Damga slab and Rupal slab. Both of these races are seen in African countries. The white-tailed eagle is one of the most populous birds of prey and can be seen in some parts of the Asian continent. Dal Rupal is also seen mostly in the African deserts, and unfortunately it is becoming extinct. Indian slab and narrow-pointed slab. Both these races are not seen much in nature anymore due to extinction. The narrow-nosed walleye, which today has become 98% extinct by researchers, not even many photos of this animal can be seen on the internet. Himalayan slab and African whiteback slab. Himalayan dal is a species of dejcake genus, and African whiteback dal are also in the same category. You can see these animals a lot in Africa. Slab-nosed and hooded vulture. The hooded vulture is a species of the eagle family, which is called the hooded vulture because of the way the feathers are placed on the head of this bird. Like other breeds, Dal Musmet is placed in the Descoq family. Red and puffy head. These two breeds, which are very common in wildlife, belong to the family of eagles. The red-headed vulture is very popular because of the color of its feathers on the head, which is red in color. White-headed vulture and little vulture. The small vulture or Egyptian vulture is a type of this animal that is very common in Iran. The griffon vulture is also abundant in African wildlife. Palm and turkey breed. The palm tree is a family of eagles. The turkey vulture, which is part of the new vulture category, is a native animal of the American continent. With its very strong sense of smell, this animal can detect the smell of the carcass from a long distance. Big and small wandering race. Both of these breeds are purebred species and are very similar to eagles. Also, if these two breeds are placed next to each other, due to their high similarity, the possibility of confusing the two is very high. Black vulture and California vulture face. Both of these races are native to the American continent, and the alarm of extinction has been sounded for them. There are only 436 California vultures left. Nijat Shah and the face of the Andean vulture. And finally, first there is the king vulture, which has a very fascinating face with a unique color spectrum, and then there is the Andean vulture, which has a very large size and its wingspan reaches 3.3 meters. How many kilos does this bird weigh? According to the breeds that I explained to you, the weight of this animal can be different. For example, the Black Dal breed has a weight of 14 kilograms, and smaller breeds such as the Egyptian vulture have a weight of approximately 5 kilograms. According to the way of feeding, this animal can have different weights in different breeds. Is the meat of this animal edible? In no way is vulture meat edible for humans. Because this animal feeds mostly on the carcasses of dead animals, and the stomach acid of this animal can easily digest all food and even non-food items. The meat of this bird cannot be eaten in any way, and if it is consumed, it may endanger human life. So don't eat the meat of this animal even if necessary. Procreation. Vultures of the Old World, native to Africa and Eurasia, mostly build nests on top of trees or on rocks. Most vultures of the Old World, the American continent, lay only one egg. New World vultures do not build nests and instead lay their eggs in natural cavities in rocks and trees. The smaller species of these vultures lay 2 eggs and their chicks take more than a month to hatch. The largest species, however, lay only 1 egg and the chicks may take about 2 months to hatch. New vulture babies grow later compared to babies of other birds of prey. Nutrition. Except for the huma, whose diet is mainly provided by the bone marrow found in the bones of the carcasses, the rest of the vultures prepare their food from the meat of the dead. These birds usually tear dead skin with their beaks, but if the dead animal's skin is too thick for them to tear, they wait for a stronger scavenger to come in to do it. Vultures rarely attack healthy animals, but may kill wounded or sick animals. Vultures are useful animals to prevent rotting and infection of carcasses, especially in tropical areas. The stomach acid of vultures is very strong and has a pH of 1. With the help of this acid, anthrax, cholera, and botulinum toxin bacteria, which can be deadly for other carrion eaters, are destroyed in the vulture's stomach. New World vultures, the Americas, often vomit when they feel threatened. Contrary to some ideas, throwing vomit is not a means of defense for these birds, rather, it makes the stomach lighter and thus makes it easier to fly in order to escape. Also, the vomited food may attract the hunter's attention and help the vulture escape. Vultures of the New World, the Americas, defecate on their feet. The uric acid in the feces destroys the bacteria that have accumulated on the feet of these birds from the carcass, and on the other hand, by evaporating the water in the feces, it cools their legs and blood vessels. The ecosystem role of vultures. Vultures have a very important ecosystem role, and their destruction creates a series of serious health risks for human societies. It is estimated that each vulture contributes $13,000 to human societies during its lifetime, and the destruction of vultures in India after the 1990s caused an increase in the spread of diseases such as rabies, anthrax, and plague in this country, resulting in $34 billion in damage. Until 2015, it has entered the Indian economy. The most important danger for vultures is poisons, insecticides and rodenticides, and drugs to which vultures are highly sensitive, and eating the smallest amount will cause them to die. The use of diclofenac in India was the main cause of the destruction of Indian vultures. This drug was given to donkeys and other domestic animals to make them work more and feel less pain and fatigue, and vultures were quickly killed by eating the carcasses of these animals. The white-rumped vulture, the most numerous vulture in India, whose population was estimated at 80 million in the 1980s, had a 99.9% population decline over 15 years and is on the verge of extinction. With the disappearance of vultures and the remaining carcasses, the pollution related to the presence of carcasses increased, and after a few years, dogs, and then rats took the place of vultures and their population increased greatly. The increase in the population of stray dogs caused an increase in the prevalence of rabies and aggressive behavior in them, so that 20,000 people die every year in India due to rabies. Attempts to limit the population of stray dogs have failed because the decrease in the dog population is immediately accompanied by an increase in the rat population, which has lost its direct food competitor and predator. The destruction of vultures has even caused an increase in leopard attacks on livestock and their entry into villages, and human deaths due to leopard attacks. Because with the sharp increase in the population of stray dogs, dogs have become a main prey for leopards, and leopards enter villages to hunt them, where they may also attack domestic animals. This issue has even endangered the population of leopards because they are also vulnerable to rabies. Although the use of diclofenac in livestock has been banned in recent years, vultures raise only one chick a year, and in the best possible conditions, it takes tens of years for their population to return to the required level. The Indian vulture crisis has also started in Africa with less intensity. Some species of African vultures have had a population decline of up to 98%. African countries also need vultures, which are the most important and effective carrion eaters, due to the large rural population and the high number of large animals. Do you know the main reason why vultures are bald? This issue was a question for humans before this. But after conducting tests, it turned out that this baldness itself is a kind of defense device for the life of these animals. Because scavengers are birds that feed on the carcasses of dead animals. These carcasses may be rotten. When the carcass stays for a few days, it becomes full of germs due to rotting. If the scavenger had hair or feathers on his head, when he used his beak to eat the carcass, the microbes would enter his hair and grow there. But the hairless head of the scavenger causes the head of this animal to be exposed to direct sunlight, and as a result the microbes on the head are destroyed. What a strange defense system. Another important thing about vultures is that they do not build nests. Vultures are also known for their fast flight, vision, and longevity. The vulture has a strong and turned beak, a hard neck and head, and large broad wings. They live in the mountains and feed mostly on carcasses. When flying, the wingspan of the vulture is about 3 meters. Unlike its powerful beak, the vulture's claws are relatively weak, so that it cannot hold anything other than very small prey with its claws, and that is why it feeds mostly on the carcasses of other animals. His flight is slow but peaked and takes place over a long period of time. The power of this bird's vision is very high, so that it can see small prey well from long distances, and the smallest movement is not hidden from its sight. Children, know that it is very rare that vultures attack healthy animals, but they may attack an injured or sick animal. Thank you friends for being with me until the end of the clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Wait for my next video about crows.